All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Express Mail, and my name is Casey.
I'm Kevin.
And this is our special guest, Dalton Blozick.
Howdy do.
He is a all-around, he does everything. He does one of the most crazy things that I think he does is the wilderness. We call them like adventures, but I want you to tell them real quick before we get started on other stuff about the one time and I was still working there, but you had to go on a big thing up in a mountain, and all you had was just like one pair of underwear. Do you remember that trip?
Oh, yeah.
What was that about?
So I went to
it's crazy.
Called Boulder Outdoor Survival School in Boulder, Utah, and you go up there. It's survival school, 7 days out in the mountains, climbing up Mount Boulder, and you don't have anything but a backpack. You got to change your clothes, and you got to find flint to start a fire, make a bow drill, and you get to certain destination points and they'll have a little bit of food buried in the ground. But you got a wool blanket to sleep with, and that was it.
For how long?
7 days.
Oh, so how did that go?
It was terrible.
Did you ever get scared?
Yes. But
was it the summertime?
It was...
I think it's mighty cold in Utah.
It was late summer, early fall. So during the day, it would still be 60 degrees, 70 degrees. But at night, it would get down in the 30s.
Oh, dear.
And that first night, it was a group of 6 of us, 6 students and like 4 teachers, and from all over the U.S. And that first night, all the men had their pride still. So they're like, when it was time to go to sleep, everybody kind of separated out. And me and this one older guy, he did dog racing in Alaska.
Oh,
so
wow.
He knew about the cold. And I said, "You sleeping alone?" He said, "I don't want to." I said, "Good, I ain't sleeping alone either." So me and this guy cuddled all night long. Woke up the next morning, everybody's like, "Oh, it was freezing last night." And me and this old guy, we're like, "It wasn't too bad."
We spooned a little bit.
So did y'all split out from there and then you had to go on your own, or did you stay with somebody?
We stayed as a group for the most part. There was one night we had to split off and make it the night by ourselves.
Just one night?
Mm-hmm.
And
we did all right. Made it, yeah. Wow. It was miserable. But...
Golly. Yeah. Did you lose weight that week?
I did.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think I remember
They feed you some beans and lentils and I don't know, grain bars, but nothing good.
Nothing
good. I ate a big, I don't remember what the first meal I ate when I got back was, but it was big, too big. And it made me sick.
Because you ate
just too much all at once. I was fiending for it.
Was that one of your worst experiences out of everything you've done, or has there been anything worse than that? Where you felt like you might not make it back? Have you ever been in that situation? Not really.
Not in the wilderness. That was the most extreme thing I'd ever done in the wilderness, and it was still, we still had leaders there, so it was still controlled. But
was it like a TV show? Could you bail out anytime you want to?
Yeah,
you had to?
Yeah.
Did you get some kind of certificate for going through that course?
No,
just it was something you put yourself through to do it.
Yep. You just get an applause.
Sounds like something me and Kevin would do, don't it, Kevin?
Back in the day, maybe.
Yeah. Hey, listen, the one thing we do want to do, me and my wife just went to Colorado a week ago and came back and went to the Royal Gorge. You ever been there?
No.
Okay, so it's almost like a big hunk of the Grand Canyon in Colorado. It's just a huge gorge. And they've got these gondolas you can go across. But the really cool thing was, which of course we didn't do it, but I said, if Kevin comes, I'll go with Kevin. They put you on a swing and they zip line you across this huge gorge. It's like 1,000 feet below you. There's a river and a railroad track down there.
River looks kind of like about that right there.
Yeah, that little cord.
Yeah, would you do something like that? I'm sure you would. You would. But
I used to work the zip line at the
Yes, you did.
place we used to work
I got on it a couple times when you were there. Matter of fact, do you remember the time the woman flew across and then broke her shin bone in half?
I do.
And I took her to the hospital. Yeah, that's pretty wicked. She was screaming pretty hard. But anyway, all right. Anything else y'all want to talk about? Wilderness? Something else you want to talk about? Like any other experience that was really cool, or? And you run? Do you still run the wilderness program?
I still run the wilderness program.
Who you work with and everything.
So I work for a company called Resolutions Healthcare, and we have an inpatient drug and alcohol treatment facility called Hidden Oaks in Chatfield, Texas, and I'm the director of experiential therapy. So I run the wilderness course. I have them in the gym, doing stuff, playing games, but my wilderness courses there are, you know, teaching them how to fish, teaching them how to set snares and traps, and how to build a shelter, how to start fire with flint. And we haven't moved on to the bow drill yet, but
do they sign up or are they forced to go?
No, they come if they choose to.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they sign up for that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's good. Everybody always signs up.
That would be cool. I mean, if you're going to rehab, I mean, obviously you don't want to be there to start with because you got a problem. But if you had to go and felt like you needed to go to get that issue taken care of, being able to go do some of the things like what you're talking about, that would make it more bearable.
Right, getting outside, not sitting in a room all day.
That would just be miserable if you had to do that.
Yeah, our rehab is definitely hands-on, getting outside, doing stuff, not just sitting in a room looking at the same four walls all the time, because I couldn't do it.
I don't think you could be a tenth as successful at rehabbing somebody if that's the way it was.
Right.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know nothing about it, but that would just be, a person to be sitting in there thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they're there all the time instead of out trying to fish or trying to
bow hunt. Got to get that mind. Got to get that mind out
off
of
right. When I was working there, and you'll know these stats better than me, but the people who were forced to go there by either parents or aunt and uncles or grandparents, I felt like they were least likely to succeed.
Yeah, because they hadn't got to the point of wanting it for themselves yet, or being done with that old lifestyle yet. But some people, whether they're court ordered or parents order them to come, they come kicking and screaming. But maybe 1-2 weeks into it, something clicks, and yeah, you're right, I do need it. So they'll pick up on some stuff, but definitely from the get go, when the people are like, hey, I gotta change. This is ruining my life. Those are the people that I enjoy having around.
There was one time, one of the girls that I knew her, I'd kind of forgot about her, but I remember like 2 months later, after going through that, she had went back to the lifestyle, and they found her dead and beaten to the point. Do you remember this little girl?
I don't know.
Beaten to the point where they had to identify her with her dental records. And she was such a sweet little old thing, and it's such a horrible lifestyle. I lost a brother to that. My brother died when he was, I think, about 40, and he had.
How long ago has it been? Because it's been
I can't even remember, but he was mainlining cocaine to the point where, at one point, all the flesh was completely gone on both arms, and he would take a shower, clean all the goo off, and rub them on a towel to find a vein to shoot more into. That's how bad it got. But it finally, and that's what he said. He thought he was going to lose the use of his arms, because one day he said he picked up a soda and he dropped it on the floor. And he did say he prayed to God to just somehow get me out of this. And it wasn't a couple days later that he was in the kitchen, and he said, I just felt like I melted to the floor. And after that, he was paralyzed from the chest down the rest of his life, but it got him out of that scene. So I think you just got to do what you got to do. But yeah, that you got to hit rock bottom, and like you say, you got to want it, because if you don't want it, you're just going to keep repeating it until you do want it. And sometimes rock bottom is death for some people.
Definitely.
So Anyway, it's a good thing you guys are doing out there. Do you like how you are running this one better than the old one we were at?
Oh yeah, definitely. This other one, it got too big, too many people.
See, I thought
Can't
so
keep up
too.
with everybody. People are just a number, and at our place now, we're an 18-bed facility right now. So
See, that's crazy. The other one was how
went from
many?
180
Yes,
to 18. We plan to build out to about 45, 46 max, and then if the Lord wills, we'll just get another place before adding on and
overdoing
adding
that.
on. Because
Yeah.
when you get that big, people just become a number, and you can't have that family relationship with them.
If you're doing the job right and all that, 45 seems. I mean, I don't know where some people might think it's a big number, some people might think it's not a very big number, but my my mind, 45. If you're constantly dealing with 45 people all the time, is it like they come and go at different times? Like I'm assuming
They come when they come. Usually, they're there for around 30 to 60 days. They
so they're
come in,
shuffling
they
in and
come
out
in,
different
they
times.
stay.
Yeah. So, but you probably never have to worry about having enough people to fill the place up. I mean, it'll always just be.
Yeah. If your max capacity is 45, you're probably hoping to run about 38, 39, and then you have the other beds just in case you
Yeah.
get some admissions stacking up on top of each other. But when we were at this place in Scurry, we counted it up one day, and we had like 5,000, almost 5,000 patients through there in 5 years. So they come and go.
Good heavens, that's
Man, oh
crazy.
man.
Good thing and bad thing about our world is mental health and addictions always gonna be needed.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, we'll have all his information, whatever he wants to put up, we'll have it put up on the screen so you guys can either get hold of him or anything like that. We also want to talk about, we're going to switch gears and talk about your leather works.
Okay.
Because this man makes belts and wallet. You do wallets. You do everything. Anything with leather, he can do.
Just about anything. Just about anything.
What do you do the most of?
I would say belts.
Belts.
I do a lot of belts just because everybody needs a belt.
That's true.
Do a lot of
Even
belts.
Kevin needed a belt.
Even Kevin needed a belt.
I got one.
Kevin's got
And I
one.
don't have it on. It's in the house.
Should have brought it out.
Should have brought it out here.
Yeah, do a lot of belts. I'm doing a graduation topper right now at the house for a college graduate.
Now, what does that look like? What are we talking about? A topper?
You know the square graduation cap?
Yes.
I
Stop.
make a piece of leather to
On top.
glue down on top of that. And
what is going to be on it? The year.
it's got some floral tooling on it. It's got a red bird on it to symbolize her grandmother and things like that.
Wow.
And it's got their family brand on it, her initials, the year. It'll be pretty cool.
Wow. Do you do work for people that's far away and you mail it to them, or is it mostly local? You have that?
Yeah. The coolest thing I ever got to do for somebody was I made a belt for an Denver Bronco. Got to make a belt for a Denver
Did you charge
Bronco.
extra for that?
No, I should have. I should have.
Big bucks.
Yeah. Give me some money. No.
The reason I asked, we have a big following in Zimbabwe, so I didn't know if you ship stuff to Zimbabwe or not.
I don't know.
Just charge them what you charge them here, and then they pay shipping.
They pay shipping, yeah.
Might cost them twice as much, but that's just a problem you got
That's
for living in Zimbabwe.
That's on them.
Definitely, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, East Texas area, we'll have his phone number and stuff that he wants to put up on the podcast here, so
cool.
You can get hold of him on that deal too. So, what do y'all want to talk about next? What's up?
I've always been. I told you about it. I was going to ask you about it. The rodeo thing.
Yeah.
I grew up around rodeo, and
me too.
None of my kids. I had 3 daughters, and none of them were ever really into rodeo. They were just, they just did girl stuff.
That's ball players.
Yeah, ball players for the most part. But I know you had started getting on some bulls at one time, and I don't know how many that you ended up getting on, but you had a pretty bad wreck there.
Yeah. I started when I was 9 getting on steers, and my long career ended when I was 13. Uh, got on this green bull at Waxahachie at the Cowboy Church, and
I was thinking it was over there.
this bull, I don't think he'd ever even been took to town before, loaded in a buck and shoot. He was jumping, he was laying down. I was trying to get ready, trying to nod, and they was like, Dalton, you've been beat up enough. You want to reride? You want to reride? And Joe James was there that day, and I was like, so that had me thinking I got a show out for Joe, and I was like, no, I'm gonna get him, I'm gonna get him, I'm gonna get him. So I finally got him, called for the gate, and this thing went out there about 4 jumps, just blowing straight up on all fours, and he came down that fourth or fifth time and just missed his feet. Feet went out from under him. I was right in the middle of him, so he went down to the right side. Well, I was riding with my right hand, so when he went down, he just popped my head. Yeah, everything went down, and then my head popped last. Bam, like a wet towel popping on the ground, and shook my brain up. Had a traumatic brain injury.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I was in a coma for 2 weeks.
Jeez.
Children's
You remember that,
Hospital.
Kevin?
Yeah.
It was touch and go, man.
Yeah, everybody around here was just wondering whether he was
Freaking
going to live or
out.
not.
Yeah, it was touch and go. 2 weeks in a coma. Then I got moved over to rehab, and I was paralyzed on the whole right side of my body. That's why my whole right side is a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller, and
Does it ever go numb or anything?
A little
like
bit.
Yeah, sometimes.
from that injury.
I
But
had no idea.
it took a while. I was inpatient, outpatient rehab for the next 2 years.
Is that what kind of got you into the field you're in? I mean, did that have something to do with it, or is that just something
that really it led me the other way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. After that happened, that's when I didn't fit in. Well, I could still fit into the rodeo crowd, but I didn't want to just go hang out and not be able to ride or do nothing. So I didn't fit in with the sports, didn't fit in with the smart kids. So I just started hanging out with my sister and all her friends, and then, well, a 15-year-old doing what 19-year-olds are doing. That's kind of what led me down that road. And then I got in another bad car wreck, and that's what led me to the field I'm working in now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know about the car wreck. I just remember the bull riding thing.
Were you injured? Car wreck?
Car wreck, broke my C2, C3, got 2 plates in my neck for that, broke my left tib fib, and dislocated my right hip.
Wow.
So yeah, it banged me up a little bit too, and
Well, I've had 3 back surgeries over the years because of bull riding and all that, and so you've had a lot happen.
Yeah,
for not just as a 15-year-old. Most 15-year-olds are all they got to complain about. They ride bulls anyway. I got stepped on a little bit, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't experience what he's experienced.
But then this, and this last week, a little boy. How old was he?
No, he wasn't a little boy. He was 25.
He was young, wasn't
he was grown, but
I think he was like 25.
Yeah,
Was he? He looked like he was 12.
Yeah, he was. I didn't know him. Dylan was his name, but I can't remember. Was it Dylan Smith or Dylan Williams or something like that? Anyway, he from Wyoming, kid from Wyoming, and I'm suspecting because when I heard he was 25, I was thinking because he was like good. He won state championships, that kind of stuff back when he was in school, I guess. So I'm thinking maybe he just kind of was like circuit rodeo and like Wyoming, Montana, that kind of thing, or Dakotas or whatever.
He was at an Extreme Bulls, wasn't
But yeah, I think he just broke out. He was in Waller or something like that, Waller, Texas, down there. Yeah, because they flew him to Houston.
Yeah.
On a helicopter after, he.
Did either one of y'all see the wreck?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either.
And they won't. Like they probably wouldn't even show it on TV.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'd have to go dig.
That's just sad.
Yeah.
God.
But yeah, I don't know the extent of it. I don't know if it was a horrifying looking wreck or whatever, kind of like a Lane Frost thing. That wasn't real horrifying looking. That was just just a typical thing you see. But could have been one of them kind of deals.
But that very well could have ended your life back in the day.
Oh, definitely. No doubt.
Rodeo deaths are not common, but they're not unheard of by any means.
But they're very rare, aren't they?
For the most part. I mean, you
think.
go a year or two sometimes and not hear of anybody
Get really bad injury.
Yeah, and then somebody might get. I know a few people. J.R. Verzane, he was a bareback rider. He's paralyzed.
Jeez.
So I mean, things like that
didn't
happen.
stop him though.
He's still
Cowboy.
He's still Cowboys.
Wow, isn't there a movie about him?
No,
I saw a movie about a guy in a wheelchair who still got on a horse. It may have been made up.
Now there's a girl that girl I can't remember her name. She's a barrel racer. She had a wreck, I think, in Wyoming or Utah or somewhere up there, and she still barrel races.
Yeah,
straps on.
Yeah, straps her in.
Straps her on the horse, and she.
Holy cow! Off she goes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, no, I was. That's the main reason I wanted to ask you that, because I thought that maybe that wreck in the bull riding might have got you thinking along the rehab lines, and of course, I know that's
totally different
kind of rehab, but
it's rehab.
But I thought maybe that might have had something to do with it. But anyway, that's why I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah, of course.
All right, are we? Everybody good?
Yep.
All right, let's move along. We're going to talk about. I think was one of the greatest actors that I've known. We lost this week, Val Kilmer. A lot of people said they didn't like him in Batman Forever. I loved him. I thought he was terrific. Again, but the greatest role, go ahead.
Doc Holliday.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Unbelievable.
There's some movies you'll remember. You can remember those movies. Like you might, Batman, whatever, you might think of that one when you think of Val Kilmer. But Tombstone, the reason it's so good, there's so many lines. That movie's over 30 years old, and there's still people walking around quoting that movie.
Yeah. One of the best westerns I think ever filmed.
I think so. I mean, it's right up there with.
And all the actors were perfect for the part they had.
And there was a lot of big name people.
Yeah.
Powers Booth, Kurt Russell, Sam Elliott. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of them, but yeah, those. I mean, I like to play poker, and I've been in a lot of poker games where people
say something
that Doc Holliday said, like maybe poker ain't your game. Maybe we need to have a spelling contest or something, one of them kind of things. There's always somebody, and this is 32 years after the movie was made, Yeah. So there's those lines, and I forget if I had a second to sit here and think about it, I could think of some more lines that people hear. I'm your Huckleberry, that kind of stuff, There's probably a half a dozen lines from that movie that you'll still hear them walking around saying,
And
you look like somebody just walked over your
way.
That was another classic.
And the whole time he was dying of what?
Tuberculosis.
TB.
And they had him made up really good to look like he's dying of something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when he made him out there to shoot him.
He
looked sicker than a dog. I mean,
I was watching a deal with him, and he everybody remembers the way he spoke when he was in that movie.
I saw this, what you're fixing to say, where they hired the guy to teach him how to speak like that.
That was like a lot of people really spoke that way in, Georgia, Florida, Carolinas or whatever. They were real like Southern gentlemen, and they spoke a different way. I mean, like Doc Holliday did.
And slow. Because I watched the interview with him where they said, how did you get that accent, that rhythm? And he said, I called the number one guy in Hollywood, and he sent me a tape of a Southern Georgia guy talking, and he said he just talked so slow. And he said, I just sat there and listened to that tape over and over. And he said, that's where I got Doc Holliday.
Kind of sped his delivery up a little bit more than that. But, he had those guys talk like that back in the day. They, people don't do that no more. Mm-mm. You can go to Georgia now and they just hick like anybody else. But back then they were the sophisticated type.
Yeah.
So
I think he was first, like we got up here, first Top Gun in 1986. I think he had a couple of movies before that, but he was 26 years old.
I think Top Gun was the breakout.
I think that was the breakout.
Where he really got known.
And then I know he also played, was it Jim Morrison?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The Door.
Yeah, The Door. I never watched that. Did y'all watch it?
I didn't. I had a guy at work talking about it just last week, though, that that was one of the best.
Yeah, so
I listened to somebody the other day. They were saying that he should have won an Academy Award for that movie. I didn't watch the movie either, but.
And then, of course, Tombstone came in '93, which I think, like you said, I think that was his best role he ever played.
There's probably three, maybe four westerns that I like, and they're all. It's hard for me to put 1, 2, 3, 4 on them, but that's in the best.
Man, if you've never watched Tombstone, you got to watch it because even the characters that played the bad guys were perfect for their for their person they were playing. It's just crazy how good it's almost like Seinfeld. Everybody was picked perfectly for whatever role they were playing in that movie. It was amazing. And then Batman Forever in '95. Again, a lot of people talked about they didn't like him as Batman. I thought it was one of his. I loved it. And,
I watched them all, but it wasn't. I mean, I just wasn't. It wasn't something that was so memorable for me that.
We're country folk, though.
We're
country folk, so we're gonna stick with Tombstone. I work with a guy. His name is Gerald, and he's down from Katy, and he said, Batman was who Val Kilmer. He remembers Val Kilmer.
I just think
I'm like, no, Tombstone.
When they're comparing him to other people who played Batman, they didn't like him, and I just thought he was great. Now, I do think that character in Tombstone was his greatest of all time. But
you ever see The Saint?
No, and I need to.
I need to go see that.
And then one of my favorite movies he played in was about those lines.
Yes, yeah.
Did you see that, Kevin? Kevin, you got to watch this movie. It's a true story.
Darkness, something about the darkness.
Lines in the darkness or something. Anyway, it's a true story. They were building a bridge over. Was it Africa or somewhere? And these two lines are in a museum, I think either in New York or Chicago or something. Did you know that? The two lions they killed finally, they're stuffed and in a museum.
Wow.
Is that where people were coming up missing?
Yeah. Dragging them out of camps.
I remember some story about that, and I don't know if it was the
Oh my God.
The Ghost in the Darkness.
Ghost in the Dark. Dude, it's one of the best movies.
I remember I don't think I watched the movie, but there's been other stuff, documentaries or whatever on that same.
It's awesome.
Because people would come up missing and nobody would know.
Yeah.
Well,
what they found out was these lions weren't killing for food.
Yeah.
They were killing for fun. And they had never seen any lion act like that. And they would come up in the middle of the night. But it's an excellent movie, and he played an excellent part.
I check that out.
I forgot to write that up on the board, but that was a great movie. I love that movie.
Ghost in the Dark.
Yes, excellent movie. All right, any more Val Kilmer news? He was 65 years young when he died.
He did play in that last Top Gun movie, that one little part.
Yes.
And I watched another thing. Him and Tom Cruise, they were became real good friends after the first Top Gun, which was 40 years, 40 years ago.
Right, so, 40 years ago,
it was when he played in that second movie. It was just a 5-minute part or whatever that he had in there, but it really, to me, it made the movie.
Yeah. Because, They said they had to, AI generate his voice because he really couldn't speak on that movie.
Yeah, last one. Well, I don't know what they did to do his voice, but I know they said that he was having a hard time speaking. Yeah. So I don't know if they had to do something like that or not. But anyway.
Yeah, those Maverick,
it made the movie.
Top Guns were really good too. Yep. Go to birthdays, Kevin. Your favorite, one of your favorite people. Today's birthday,
all-time greatest. I don't care what anybody says, and everybo's got this is an opinion thing here.
And see, I think Billy Ray Cyrus was better than Merle Haggard.
No, not at all.
I had to throw that in.
No. Merle Haggard is the absolute greatest country singer ever, in my opinion. I know some people say Hank Williams, some people say George Jones or whatever, and that's all fine and great if that's your opinion, but I grew up listening to
Merle Haggard.
I call Merle Haggard the George Strait of my mother's day because my mother thought of George Strait the way. You ever been to a George Strait concert and seen the women? I remember going to one of the Walt Garrison rodeos.
Yeah. And
George Strait was there. And this is after he got famous. Walt Garrison had him at one rodeo and paid him like $3,500 or something other like that. The first one he went to.
Yeah.
But when he come to the second Walt Garrison rodeo, was when Does Fort Worth Ever Cross Your Mind just came out.
He had to pay some money.
And it was like Walt Garrison. I heard Walt Garrison talking about, I'm interviewing him, or not interviewing, I'm just talking to him like, sure like to have you back. He said, all right, when is it? And he told him, he said, I was thinking, man, what's this going to cost me? He said, what's it going to cost me to get you this time? I know it's going to be a little more. And he said, well, what did I charge you last time? And he said, I don't know, I think 3,500 or something. He said, well, we'll just go with that. So he scored George Strait. And it's a benefit rodeo. It was a muscular dystrophy rodeo that Walt Garrison used to put on. And he always had top-notch entertainment. I seen Merle there one year, or a couple of years, and George Strait there. Different people. I don't remember all the ones, but anyway, Merle Haggard, to me, he was, what I was getting at, George Strait at that concert that he was at, it was at Fairport Coliseum. Women were just about to spill across the rails trying to. He come riding out
George Strait,
Neil Gay's paint horse, yeah. And they were just like, you could just, just step back because the women would run you over trying to get to that rail, trying to get a good look at him. Well, that's the way Merle Haggard was back in my mom's day, So
yeah.
That's why I call him the George Strait of my mother's day. But I grew up, every time he come out with a new album, my mom worked at Kmart, so she'd bring that album home. She's got them from start to finish, Wow. And I heard Haggard songs 30 years later, and I still remember the words to them. It was ingrained in us, I guess. But anyway.
Who was your favorite?
My favorite.
Do you listen to country?
Of all time? Favorite of all time. That's a tough one. I don't know. I'm a Hank Jr. guy. But now I like Cody Johnson.
He seems to be popular, especially with the rodeo crowd. I mean, he does, which he's cowboy, I guess. He team ropes, and he does. I think he has.
Does he sing the rock country?
Yes.
It's not the pop rock country.
It ain't no Florida Georgia line. He ain't in with that. All right.
No, I'm not either. That's I like them guys you're talking about. Hank Jr. I've always been a fan of his.
Billy
I've always
Ray.
been a fan of no Billy Ray. The people that are distinct, you got Travis Tritt, Dwight Yoakam. I like those kind of guys.
Question: is Travis Tritt doing anything lately?
He still does concerts, but it's more.
But no records out lately.
Well, he's kind of like.
His voice is
kind of like
fantastic.
I heard Charlie Pride say one time.
I love Charlie Pride.
They asked Terry Dorsey, "Hey, you got any new stuff coming out?" And he said, "Well, you gonna play it if I do?"
Exactly. They won't play
That's the thing. These new guys come around. They'll play them on radio. So why go cut an album if they're not gonna play it on country radio?
Exactly.
But he still does concerts. He still does that kind of stuff, and he, obviously still making a awesome living. He's got a daughter that sings now.
And what was the guy you said? The new guy?
Cody Johnson.
Cody Johnson.
He's a good one. Kojo.
And Merle would have been 88 and born on the exact same day and year. Billy D. Williams. You know anything about Billy D?
No idea who
that is. Because he's a black man. That shows because see, you're something's wrong with you.
Younger generation, they wouldn't have known about him anyway.
Well, anyway, Billy D. is 88 years old. Yeah, that's probably why you don't know about him. But he was in Star Wars. He's been in over 100 movies and had a film career over 60 years.
I know him if I see him.
Absolutely, you know him. He played. Do you watch Star Wars movies?
I've seen clips. I don't watch the whole movie.
Okay, well you would know him. Man. Anyway, he's been in the film and TVs for 60 years. He started when he was 20. No, he was a teenager when he started in the films. But he's been in over 100 movies in his career. So he's a big deal. He's got a star on the Walk of Fame and everything like that. And he's one of my favorites in the Star Wars series.
There you go.
He's awesome. Awesome dude.
I never watched Star Wars stuff either.
He was also in Moving On Up. What's that show?
Yeah, Jeffersons.
The Jeffersons. Oh, he was a guest appearance on there.
That was definitely before me.
Really?
Have you never watched any of those shows? The Jeffersons or have you watched Sanford and Son or any of those? Yeah. A lot of people your age ain't. They don't.
Yeah.
Like my girls,
I've seen them.
They wouldn't. I mean, especially Kaylee. She wouldn't know what Sanford and Son or any of them shows were.
Yeah.
She might have seen them on a Facebook clip or something.
Those were classics,
man. That was awesome show.
Those was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
But
all right, guys. What else? Anything else? Anything else you want to promote while you're here that we can push out?
No, that's pretty good. Thank you for having me on. Let me talk about my leather business and the addiction treatment, mental health business, and
I do have a belt that he made, and I wish I had it out here with me, but I don't. Anyway, but
And we are sending
good quality stuff.
We are sending Kevin's wife for mental rehab, aren't we? Aren't we moving her out?
got good insurance.
Maybe in about 2 months I will. I'm starting a new gig here. I got to let it fit in.
Oh, he starts tomorrow. That's right. I forgot about that. Ooh. Well, anyway, ring that bell, like, share, subscribe, and please comment. And like I said, we'll put up Dalton's information up on the screen so you can see that if you need to get hold of him for anything. Anything else, Kevin?
All I got.
What about
that
you,
like button,
Dalton?
hit that share button, hit subscribe.
I got one more funny story.
Let's go. Let's go with it.
I was in Kaylee's car in high school.
Oh my!
We were leaving. We were leaving.
His daughter, by the way.
Yeah, his daughter, youngest daughter. We were leaving the softball field, and I was in the passenger seat. She was driving. I don't remember who was in the back seat, but we were on 148 coming up to 34, about to go to that stop sign. And I was leaned around the back seat talking crap, doing something. I had a ball cap on like this and got that little hard thing right at the top. Anyway, she was going too fast up to that stop sign, or I just wasn't paying attention. And all of a sudden, she hit them brakes. My head jerked around. I'm facing the front windshield, and my head goes right into the front windshield. This little ball on top of my cap. And man, made my head hurt. And I cracked your daughter's windshield with my hat that day. I don't know if she ever told you about that.
I'm trying to think. Was that
it
was
gold car?
Yeah, I remember the car, but I don't remember the windshield getting broke. Robin may know something about it, but
it was that little gold car, man. It was tight in there, anyways.
Yeah, I never rode in.
But are you Kaylee's age or Casey's?
Yeah, Kaylee's.
Kaylee's. And how old is that?
32.
Yeah, I'm 31.
God, you are young.
Kaylee will turn 32 in May. May's 18th. She got the same birthday as George Strait.
Oh, wow.
May 18th.
Very nice. Very nice.
Cool deal.
Is that it? We're going to wrap it up?
We're done.
All right. As usual, we'll put Mini-Me right here so everybody can take a look at him. And we're going to wrap it up. I'm Casey.
I'm Kevin.
Dalton.
Special guest here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.
Peace.